Hello everyone, greetings of the day. I am Tarun Kumar, Python instructor at CodinGrad. So CodinGrad is an educational institute where where you have a lot of courses on booming subjects like data science, DevOps, cybersecurity, and many more. So uh, most of the courses today, which are very booming nowadays, like data science, machine learning, AWS cloud. Okay, so most of the things you require Python as a tool to write or instruct the computer to do the things. Okay, so Python is very basic tool which can be utilized to most of the courses. So if you want to learn a data science and if you want to learn data analytics or whatever, or if you want to learn AWS cloud automation, so there also we require Python. So Python can be you can treat it as a very basic tool which can be utilized to most of the courses. So it's better to learn Python first as a programming language, and you can master in most of the other courses as well, irrespective of the interest you have in different subjects like data science, DevOps, AWS, or cybersecurity or whatever. So, so, so this course, Python programming, is a part of full stack data science course. So basically, CodinGrad has started enrollments in the full stack data science. So this is a introductory course for Python, so which will be utilized in the data science perspective. Okay, సో మనం దీన్ని డేటా సైన్స్కి యూజ్ అయ్యేలాగా చెప్పబోతాం along with all the basics which are required for other courses as well. Okay, so let's get started. So today's objective. So before going to learn Python, we need to understand what is actually a programming. Okay, so types of programming. So basically types of programming అనేది based on different factors ఉంటదన్నమాట. Okay, we can categorize the programming into different categories based on certain features. For example, ఎలా చెప్తామంటే మనం ఫాస్ట్నెస్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రోగ్రామ్. మీరు ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాసినప్పుడు అది ఎంత ఫాస్ట్గా రన్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, సో బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దట్ ఫాస్ట్నెస్ we can have types of programming. ఓకే, మీరు రాసిన ప్రోగ్రామ్ మెషిన్ ఎలా అండర్స్టాండ్ చేసుకుంటుంది బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ద మెషిన్ అండర్స్టాండబిలిటీ. ఓకే, విచ్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ మెషిన్ రీడబుల్ హియర్. సో బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దట్ we have different types of programmings. Okay, so we'll all learn together. If you are confusing, like if you have any difficulty and understanding of these concepts, like what is fastness, what is machine readable, what are these low level, high level, compile, interpreter, and hybrid, don't worry. When we are going to dig there, we will definitely understand. Okay, next we'll also learn Python programming. And also I'll give you a very basic stuff on how to write Python programs, how to write do the things and all in a shell. Okay, and first thing, definition of programming. So what is a programming actually? Okay, programming is just like you can think of an engineering process. So engineering process అంటే ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు everyone who actually want to do things. For example, if you want to build if you want to build a house, you need something, right? Some process to build it, some process. So basically that process will comes through experience and comes through some of the details to understand of each and every element in a construction. So you need to understand strength of the cement, you need to understand strength of the walls, you need to strength of materials. Like most of the things there are available. Like you need to understand all of them, right? So understanding and also following some sort of process. Okay, building కట్టడము. సో అదంతా ఒక ప్రాసెస్. సో ఇట్స్ ప్రాసెస్ ఆఫ్ డూయింగ్ సంథింగ్ టు అచీవ్ సంథింగ్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ అన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ ప్రాసెస్ బేసికలీ. ఓకే, మీరు ఒకటి సాధించడానికి ప్రయత్నించే మీరు చేస్తూ ఉంటారు కదా. మీరు చేసే ప్రక్రియలో ఎలాంటి వాటిని ఏమంటాం మనం, ఎలాంటి టెక్నిక్స్ మీరు యూజ్ చేసి చేస్తున్నారు ఒక ప్రాసెస్ని. ఓకే, సో బేసికల్లీ మీరు ఇలాంటి టెక్నిక్స్ని మీరు యూజ్ చేసి మీరు ఒక ప్రాసెస్ని అకంప్లిష్ చేస్తున్నారు. సో దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాసెస్, రైట్, వాట్ యూఆర్ డూయింగ్ హియర్ విచ్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ ప్రాసెస్. Similarly, Python is also an engineering process. Okay. For ఇక్కడ మీరు ఏం సాధించాలి, ఇక్కడ మీరు ఏం చేయాలి, వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ టాస్క్? ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్ దట్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ ప్రాసెస్, పైథాన్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ ఈస్ అన్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ ప్రాసెస్, రైట్? సో you need to do something here, right? What you need to do here, you need to give some job to a computer. That is also some work, right? How you are going to give, how you are going to give a job or a task to a computer, how it is going to how you are writing it, how you are giving, what are the ways to do that. So all this process are ఉంటుంది కదా, ఆ ప్రాసెస్ మొత్తాన్ని మనం ఏమంటామంటే ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ అంటాం. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్. సో ఇక్కడ మీరు ఒకటి గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సింది ఏంటంటే, కంప్యూటర్ ఉంది కదా, కంప్యూటర్ అంటే it's not something having a laptop or a desktop, having monitor or a camera or keypad. You don't think of all of this. You just think as a computer as a CPU, memory and disk. ఓకే, సో అది మీరు అలా అంటే మీరు దాన్ని ఆ కంప్యూటర్ని మీరు అలా అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి. కంప్యూటర్ అంటే ఏంటి అంటే సిపియు, మెమరీ అండ్ డిస్క్, దట్స్ ఆల్. ఓకే, సో ఫర్ సిపియు, మెమరీ అండ్ డిస్క్ మీరు ఎలా జాబ్ని ఒక ప్రోగ్రామ్, ఒక టాస్క్ని మీరు ఎలా ఇవ్వబోతారు కంప్యూటర్కి. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద వే, ఎలా ఇస్తారో ద వే ఆఫ్ డూయింగ్ దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్. ఓకే, నౌ సో basically what this CPU, memory and disk, which is called a computer, what it will do basically. So whatever the problems which are available in mathematics, like additions, subtractions, very basic mathematical operations, and linear algebra, advanced algebra, probabilities, statistics, logics, matrices, series, advanced series, differentiation, summations, integrations, many more. You can think of like a whole mathematical subject is there, right? Whatever the problems are there, mathematically solved problems, which can also be solved by a computer. So that is the main thing that I want to convey to you guys. So every mathematical operation, if you want to uh, uh, understand a programming, is that simply it's all depends on maths. Okay, so that is how the programming is. And then we have scientific problems also, like for example pressure counting a pressure or measuring a pressure, temperature, weather. So all these can also be achieved using programming. Whatever the things that you can compute manually can also be computed by computer. Whatever the things you can do, like a human can do with intelligence. Okay, with intelligence, if the human is doing something or is able to do something, that the problems which those can also be done by a computer. Okay, so in a final word, you can understand the programming as whatever the human can do scientifically and mathematically, that can be done by a computer as well. So people may understand in a different way, like whatever human can do, it can do like that can be a good statement, but it generalizes the statement that all of the things that human can do computer cannot do, right? So you can think of that all the scientific problems and mathematical problems that computer can do. Okay, so that is what a program, that is what the power of programming. Okay, మీకు maybe you feel it is as a complex subject. Okay, if you feel it is a complex subject, I made it basically because by mentioning this all these are mathematical concepts and pressure or whatever, different concepts, different way of definition, different defining the programming. But don't worry, uh, the way you understand now will help in understanding the things in data science. Okay, where for example, if you see what I said here, all the mathematical advanced problems like advanced algebra, matrices, advanced series, differentiations, integrations, right? I'm saying here, right? So I'm saying here that these all problems will be solved by programming, right? So why I mentioned here, because data science requires these things. Okay, statistics, you require a statistic, you require a probability there. You if you want to go for a machine learning or neural networks or whatever, you require matrices there. Okay, if you want to understand AI, artificial intelligence, you require logic there. Okay, if you want to go to deep of neural networks, then you require differentiations, integrations, summations. There are very complex uh, equations are there where you need to understand those can be solved before the hand. You need to understand that okay, whatever the problem it is, whatever the big equation it is, machine learning equation, that can be solved by programming. So that is what you need to understand. So that's why I have mentioned all of these topics here. So basically, like when I move to this other slide, you are all should be clear of what is a programming. Programming అనేది all the mathematical operations solve చేయడానికి యూజ్ చేసే ఒక ప్రాసెస్ యూజింగ్ ఏ కంప్యూటర్. సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ యూ నీడ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్. దట్స్ ఆల్. ఓకే. సో now now coming to types of programming, right? So as you all know, right, what is programming? Programming is basically doing some process or following some process where you will achieve some task or a job using a computer, right? కంప్యూటర్ని యూజ్ చేసి మీరు ఒక ప్రాబ్లమ్ని సాల్వ్ చేయడాన్ని ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ అంటాం మనం. సో మీరు కంప్యూటర్ని యూజ్ చేసి మీరు సాల్వ్ చేసే ప్రాసెస్ని మనం ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ అన్నప్పుడు, సో మీరు ఒక్కొక్కలాగా కన్వే చేస్తారు కంప్యూటర్కి. సో కంప్యూటర్ నీడ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ ఇట్, రైట్, బిఫోర్ ఇట్ స్టార్ట్స్ వర్కింగ్. So how the computer is going to understand? It won't understand what we are talking, like Telugu, English, it won't understand, right? So it has some specific language to understand. Computer only understand zeros and ones, nothing else. It won't understand anything else. Okay. So which is called a binary language. Computer is very comfortable in binary language. Computer only understands zeros and ones. So then how you are going to instruct a computer in zeros and ones, right? For that you require like you need to understand what is the CPU architecture. You might have seen, like, right, maybe most of you in seen when you are buying a laptop like AMD 64, ARM 64, right? So that is called architecture of the computer. So that means architecture of a CPU basically. Okay. Mac systems, Mac CPUs, you can, if you see, they are in different architecture. Okay. uh, and then most of the other systems are in the same architecture, like AMD 64 or 32-bit or whatever, or no 32-bit, 32-bit అనేది ఇప్పుడు లేదు. సో ఇవన్నీ మీరు వినే ఉంటారు కదా. సో నీ నాట్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దట్, బట్ ఇవన్నీ వినే ఉంటారు కదా. సో దీస్ ఆర్ కాల్డ్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్స్. సో బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ద ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ we can write a program on zeros and ones. So once upon a time they were like they were doing they were writing a program in zeros and ones only. So if you see, if you search for a computer, if you search for a programming, you will see that a big room will have all the computer transistors and semiconductors and all, one person doing some stuff. So it used to take maybe lot of time to run a simple mathematical operations like additions and subtractions. Okay. So you people used to do that, but writing in zeros and ones is very hard to everyone, right? Okay. So on top of that, people used another language called assembly language. If you have did your BTech or your graduation in computer science, if you have come across computer architecture or organization subject, there you will know that assembly language will be used there, microprocessor and microcontrollers, right? So where that assembly language will also some sort of instructions based on a system that is also based on a architecture of the CPU. Okay. So and that assembly language can be converted to zeros and ones doing some intermediate process. So we basically have assembly language compiler in a computer itself. Every computer will have it nowadays. Okay. If you write a program in assembly language, it will be converted to zeros and ones, and the zeros and ones will be given to CPU, and CPU will understand zeros and ones, so it will run the task whatever you have given in the assembly language. Okay. So you know, right, you understood, right? So అసెంబ్లీ లాంగ్వేజ్లో మీరు ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాస్తే ఆ ప్రోగ్రామ్ అసెంబ్లీ లాంగ్వేజ్ అనేది జీరోస్ అండ్ వన్స్ లాగా కన్వర్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో ద కన్వర్ట్ అవ్వడానికి ప్రతి కంప్యూటర్లో కన్వర్టర్స్ ఉంటాయి. సో వాటిని లాట్ ఆఫ్ సబ్జెక్ట్ రిక్వైర్డ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్ వాట్ ఈస్ బిహైండ్. సో వీ డోంట్ రిక్వైర్ దట్. యూ కెన్ థింక్ ఆఫ్ లైక్ ఎ బ్లాక్ బాక్స్ దట్ it will be it will be a very technical course, very core concepts, computer architecture, organization and all. uh, so you don't require that to write a program basically. Okay, we are not going to write programs in assembly language as well. So I'm just trying to make you understand that okay, there is a flow where you can write a program. Okay, so zeros and ones you can convey your task or your intention or your thoughts or your logic to a computer in a zeros and ones. That is possible, but that is impossible to you, right? Am I right? Next, and then to do that we have assembly language created, okay, discovered. So using assembly language, you can write assembly language code. Assembly language లో మీరు కోడ్ రాస్తారు, which will also be converted into zeros and ones, and then the zeros and ones will be given to CPU, so CPU will give the task. So that is the way. So most of the people don't understand assembly language as well. Who has a knowledge on computer architecture and organization and all the computer hardware details, right? CPU, memory. If the person has the knowledge on that, then he can able to write the assembly language. Very few percent, 0.01% of the whole world population only can understand assembly language and can read. I also don't understand what is assembly language. I know I know how it works and what are the terms and all, but I'm not able to write a program in assembly language. Not only me, no one can write in assembly language. Okay, so that is what assembly language. So people feel that it is very hard to write a program in assembly. Then what happens, people invented C programming language. You all, I think most of you heard about C, I guess. So C programming language, whatever your thoughts, your logic, right, in your mind, you can convey in a C language. Okay, if you learn a C language, you can convey in a C language, and that C language code you will write, right, that will be converted to assembly language using some compiler in between. C compiler. C will have a C compiler which will convert the actual code that you have written in a C programming will be converted to assembly language. సో మీరు ఏదైతే ప్రోగ్రామ్ సిలో రాస్తారో, మీరు అనుకున్న థాట్స్, మీరు అనుకున్న ఒక ఒక ప్రాబ్లమ్, ఒక అడిషన్ ప్రాబ్లమో లేకపోతే ఒక ఒక మల్టిప్లికేషన్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఆర్ ఎల్స్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ద మ్యాథమెటికల్ ఆర్ సైంటిఫికల్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ యూ వాంట్ టు అచీవ్, మీరు దాన్ని సిలో రాసినప్పుడు అది మీకు అసెంబ్లీ లాంగ్వేజ్ లాగా కన్వర్ట్ చేయనీకి మనకి సి కంపైలర్ ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, సి కంపైలర్ ద్వారా కోడ్ అనేది కంపైలర్ అసెంబ్లీ లాంగ్వేజ్ లాగా అవుతుంది. అండ్ దెన్ అసెంబ్లీ లాంగ్వేజ్ అనేది అగైన్ బైనరీ కోడ్ లాగా కన్వర్ట్ అవుతుంది, అండ్ ద బైనరీ కోడ్ విల్ బీ గివెన్ టు కంప్యూటర్ అండ్ ద కంప్యూటర్ విల్ స్టార్ట్ వర్కింగ్, లైక్ స్టార్ట్ డూయింగ్ ద టాస్క్. Okay, right. Next, on top of that, C is also some people feel it is as a tougher, like feel it's some sort of tough because non-technical students or background with degree students or background with non CSE or IT students will feel discomfort in writing C programming language, write programs in C, right? And not only for that, there is a different reason the Python invented. I will talk to that later. But Python programming also was invented, which is very easy compared to C. You can write instructions in English. That's all. I mean, right? There are some syntaxes and all. I'll tell you, but comparatively C, it is very easy. Okay. So Python basically written in C. Okay, it was written in C, and basically whatever you are writing code, that will be uh, you know um, the instructions, or by default the libraries which are in Python were written in C basically. Okay, so what happens when you write a code, that Python code, that will be directly converted to assembly language. Okay, it will talk to C, but doesn't mean that it will convert it to C and then it will convert it to assembly. So basically Python we have interpreter here. So as I said, to convert a language like C language to assembly language, we have a C compiler, right? మీరు వినే కంపైలర్ టర్మ్ విన్నారు కదా. సో పైథాన్ నుంచి పైథాన్లో రాసిన కోడ్ అసెంబ్లీ లాంగ్వేజ్లోకి మారాలంటే మీకు వచ్చేటువంటి లైక్ కన్వర్టర్ ఉంటుంది కదా, ఆ కన్వర్టర్ని మనం ఇంటర్ప్రిటర్ అంటాం. సో విల్ లర్న్ లైక్ వాట్ ఈస్ ఇంటర్ప్రిటర్, వాట్ ఈస్ కంపైలర్, we will learn, don't worry about it. Okay, so I'll brief on this slide one more time. Okay, so every slide, when we come to every slide, what I'll do, I'll brief from starting, so that you will revise. So at the end of the course, at the end of the slide, I'll brief from again from starting to end of the course. So it will be a repetitive um, revising. Okay, that will also help you to understand more. So from where we have started from programming, right? So programming is a way or engineering process um, which is a way basically to convey your logics to computer. Okay, so inside that programming, what we are doing, we need to give some tasks to computer, so that can be done by specific language which computer can understand. So computer only understands zeros and ones, which is called binary language. So people won't able to write programs in binary. So what they will do, what they have invented or discovered, they have discovered assembly language first. So people used to write assembly code, where that assembly code will be converted to binary language by using implicit converter. Implicitly, you have a converter in a computer. Every computer has an implicit converter for us converting assembly language to binary language. Okay, you need not to install, or you need not to do any sort of plugins to do the task, like from assembly language to binary language. If you want to convert anything, you need not to do anything. Okay, every laptop will have that, like that implicit converter we call. Okay, uh, so then people also most of the people who also feel discomfort in writing assembly code. So they have started Richards, you might have heard the name, like C invented by Richards. So he discovered a programming called C language, which was written in assembly language basically. Okay, so the C will be compiled to assembly language. Okay, so C code, whatever your thoughts or you want to convey, then if you need to convey from C, and the code will be converted to assembly language. Okay, uh, and here, so I would also mention about syntax. Basically, when you have English or Telugu or whatever, you have some grammatical rules to talk or speak, right? Speak or write or talk, right? Like you need to follow some grammatical rules, past tense, present tense, future tense, you have to follow question tags, many things are there in grammar. Similar to that, C language, it's a language, right? We are also need to follow some grammatical rules. So those rules are called syntax rules. Okay, syntax rules. Okay, for example, if you want to speak in a present tense, I like for example, sun rises in the east. Okay, the same thing, like for example, if you want to do some task in C language, there is some way of doing that, there is some way of writing the task in C language. Okay, C has its own I can say its own rules and regulations, similar to English grammar rules has. So what those rules are called as syntax rules. Okay, so this syntax, whenever we are going to write a program, we need to follow syntax rules. Humans we don't require, right? For example, if I'm talking in English, there are many grammatical mistakes, I know, right? I know them. But even though it may understand you, right? You can understand what I'm talking. But even though uh, there are grammatical mistakes in my talk, right? This is, I mean, like human brain is very powerful than a computer's CPU, right? So it can understand whatever we are conveying, but computer won't understand that. If you give like syntax mistakes, like if you give any grammatical mistakes writing program, C won't allow. It will give you a syntax error. So it is very strict, and we need to strictly follow grammatical rules while learning C language. It is not a rule for English to learn all the grammatical rules like present tense, past tense, future. We need not to learn for talking um, in English, right? We need not to learn all of these rules while talking in English, but C requires this rules for C syntaxes. C rules, basically C grammatical rules called syntax rules. Okay. Um, so those syntax rules you understood, right? So we need, definitely we need to follow. Similar to that, we have a Python also follows some syntax, and we need to follow that syntax only. If you won't write any syntax, like if you write any mistakes in grammatical not grammatical but syntax mistakes in instructions of the Python program, Python will give you an interpreter error. Okay, it's not a compiler error, it's an interpreter error. Okay, so that is what. So uh, computer will understand binary language, zeros and ones, and top of it we have assembly language, which will talk to binary language. On top of assembly language we have an intermediate language called C, which will talk to assembly language. And then on top of C, basically we have so Python written in C language, so we have Python language. So Python can also be converted to assembly language, but it can talk to C. It doesn't mean that it will talk to C and C, and then it will convert to assembly. That intermediary interpreter will do that one only, but I'm just saying you that it is not shown to us, మనకు అది కనిపించదు. సో పైథాన్ కోడ్ మీరు ఏదైతే రాస్తారో అది డైరెక్ట్లీ అసెంబ్లీ లాంగ్వేజ్గా మారుతుంది. సో ఇంప్లిసిట్గా ఏం జరుగుతుందంటే పైథాన్ అనేది, పైథాన్ లైబ్రరీస్ అనేవి సిలో ఉంటాయి కాబట్టి సికి వెళ్ళి సి కోడ్ అనేది అసెంబ్లీగా మారుతుంది. బట్ అది మనకు కనిపించదు. సో ఇంటర్ప్రిటర్ విల్ టేక్ కేర్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్. సో అవుట్పుట్ ఆఫ్ ద ఇంటర్ప్రిటర్ ఫ్రమ్ పైథాన్ ఏంటి అని చెప్తే మీరు ఏం చెప్పాలంటే అసెంబ్లీ లాంగ్వేజ్, అసెంబ్లీ కోడ్ వస్తుంది. ఓకే, ఇట్ వోంట్ బి ఎస్సీ. సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఐ వాంట్ టు మెన్షన్ హియర్. Okay, this is all about types of programming. It's not all about the types of programming. So first thing we have talked about, right? What is that? um, Based on fastness and difficulty, if you remember this one, right? Right. So by the time you already understood that, I think so, binary language is very very faster, highly faster than any of the language. Okay, because computer directly understand it. Whatever you're talking, there is no intermediary required or any machine translator required there. It will directly understand, so it will be very very fast. Assembly language is low level language. Low level means, of course, binary language is also highly low level. Low level means మీరు డీప్గా వెళ్ళి రాసు అంటే మీరు కంప్యూటర్కి అర్థమయ్యేలాగా రాస్తున్నారు కాబట్టి దాన్ని లో లెవెల్ అంటాం. ఓకే, సో యూ కెన్ థింక్ ఆఫ్, యు ఆర్ రైటింగ్ ఏ ప్రోగ్రామ్ which will directly communicating to CPUs. ఓకే, సో అలాంటి ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ అసెంబ్లీ కానీ లేకపోతే బైనరీ లాంగ్వేజ్ కానీ వీటిని ఏమంటామంటే లో లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ అంటాం. ఓకే, సో వేర్ దీస్ లో లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ ఆర్ హైలీ ఫాస్టర్. బేసికలీ సీని కూడా లో లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ అంటారు. Some people feel it as a C as a low level, and C some people feel it doesn't a low level, it's an intermediate level. People think that, but most of the people also think that it is a high level language. So it's not about C, but just try to understand the concept here. What is low level language and high level language? Okay, so binary and assembly languages are low level languages which are faster compared to other languages. Okay, C is an intermediate language which is also a very faster language. Like it's written in assembly language, so it is very fast compared to other languages like Python and all. Okay, Python is highly high level language. Okay, where whatever you are writing program, it needs to be translated to many things, right? At the end of assembly to binary again, and doing the things. So Python takes much more time compared to C while running the task. If you are giving a task, it should be going to some of the steps, four steps basically, if you think of. Whereas C can go to two steps only, where assembly can go to one step only, where binary need not to go any step, it directly understandable by the computer. So if the steps are increasing, the latency will also increase, right? So fastness will also, time for the compiling and running will also increase, right? So that is how I call this as a fastness, based on the fastness. So this is the way. Okay, like Python is very slower compared to C. C is slower compared to assembly. Assembly is slower compared to binary. Okay, right. um, you can see here, right, what actually we are conveying here. The job or program which was written in C will be translated to assembly language, and assembly language then converted to binary, so that the computer will understand task to be done, whatever it should be, whatever it should do. Okay. Right. Now we have some more types of language, types of programming. You feel like you're maybe you're feeling some sort of discomfort because all these theoretical concepts are there, like what is programming, what all this stuff, what is talking, what is computer, what is saying, what is low level language. What I'm here to learn Python, but what I'm doing here, what I'm learning here. So don't get confused or don't get panic. So these are very basic things. So when you are started, like when you are start writing programs in Python, advanced programs, you will get some errors, right? So those errors you won't understand what is these errors and all. When you start working out those errors basically written in some errors includes some library errors, some errors include .h, which are actually C programs. So then you will come to one, then you will be very like మీరు చాలా కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయిపోతారు అప్పుడు. సో సో మీకు ఒక ఫ్లో ఉంటే, ఒక ఫ్లోగా మీరు అర్థం చేసుకుంటే దట్ వుడ్ బి వెరీ గ్రేట్. యూ నీ నాట్ టు బై హార్ట్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఐఎమ్ టెలింగ్ హియర్. దిస్ ఆల్ థియరటికల్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ యూ కెన్ ఇగ్నోర్, బట్ జస్ట్ కీప్ ఇట్ ఇన్ మైండ్ దట్ ఓకే, okay, you should be very clear about the concepts, that's all. Like what is C, what it is like, how it is doing, what it is doing, what is assembly language, what is a binary language, like what the programming will do, what actually the programming will do. These are very basic things. Just you need to understand like what it is doing, it will do mathematical operations, that's all. So do not need not to by heart, or need not to do any hard work on understanding these concepts way more digger. That's not required to you. Okay. So compiled language and interpreted language. So basically, um, high level languages. So I'm treating it as C as a high level language. Most of the people treat it as low level language, some people treat it as high intermediate language, some people treat it as high level language. So basically in personal I feel that it as a high level language. So C and C++, Java are what Java it won't come here, sorry. So I'll tell you about the Java as well. C and C++. So these languages, high level languages, basically uh, these languages should converted to assembly, right? So the process of converting these languages to assembly languages, so translating, right? So there is an converter should be there, right? So the converter is the name of the converter is called compiler, okay, which will convert the code of C and C++ to uh, assembly language, assembly code, okay. That is called compiler. What this compiler will do, ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఇన్ సి యూ షుడ్ రైట్ ఆల్ ద టాస్క్. మీరు ఏదైతే చేయాలనుకుంటున్నారో, మీరు ఏదైతే మ్యాథమెటికల్లీ సాల్వ్ చేయాలనుకుంటున్నారో కంప్యూటర్ ద్వారా, మీరు రాయాలనుకున్న కోడ్ అంతా కూడా సిలో ఒకటేసారి రాయాలి, ఓకే. మీరంతా రాసి డాట్ సి అనే ఫైల్ని సేవ్ చేసుకొని ఈ కంపైలర్కి ఇస్తే ఆ కంపైలర్ అనేది కంపైల్ చేసి కన్వర్ట్ చేస్తుంది, ఓకే. దట్ కంపైలేషన్ ప్రాసెస్ ఆర్ ది రైట్ విచ్ ఇస్ స్లో, okay. I mean like compilation of whole the code, it's not slow, it's slower means, okay, maybe I confused, sorry for that, just ignore it what I said. um, where we are like okay, C++ languages which will be converted to uh, assembly language, right? So these languages will be converted to assembly language. So to convert that we require a machine translator, like language translators we have, right? If PM Modi goes to any other English countries, he has some translator who will understand English better and convey to Modi, and Modi will reply in Hindi, and the translator will what it will do, he will again convey the whole uh, message from Modi in English to the English person, right? Similar to that, okay. There is a converter here, so the converter is called compiler. It's a one way only, like whatever you are writing it will convert your code to assembly only. Again it won't give you assembly code to C language, okay. Irreversible, like vice versa is not possible here. You understood, right? So compiler, so you understood like compiler is a programmatical module which will convert your C program to assembly language or high level language to assembly language. So the compilation, how it works, basically whatever the code you write, okay, in C language, the code, or whole the program will be compiled at once. Okay, whole the code will compile at once. Okay, that is what compilation, and it will generate an assembly code that you all know. And that turnaround, for example, after converting it to an assembly code or machine readable code, then that machine readable code will be given to CPU, and CPU will start running it, right? Runtime, compile time, we have two things here: compile time and runtime. Okay, conversion process will take compiler, right? That is called compile time. And after compiling, if you give the machine readable code to the what is called, what is this, CPU will start working on it, right? So that is called runtime. So these are the two things: compile time and runtime. Okay, so turnaround time, we also have a one thing called turnaround time. Okay, so the turnaround time is called compile time plus runtime. Okay, compile time plus runtime is called turnaround time. So the turnaround time for the compiled languages is very less, means they are faster. Compiled programming languages are faster. Okay, right. Now, interpreted languages. Interpreted languages means, however, whatever the things, the basic idea is that whatever you are writing in programming like Python or C, the code and a code అనేది assembly laga convert అవ్వాలి, that is for sure. So the way of converting are different, right? People used to convert the whole code at once. People used to convert each and every line in the code at once, right? The way of converting will differ. Based on that, we have compiled language and interpreted language. Okay, so interpreted language basically converts each and every line to assembly language. If any line has any error or any syntax error, it will stop there. It won't compile the whole code. Okay, so that is the difference between compiled language and interpreted language. What is the difference? Compiled language will compile the whole code or convert the whole code at once, whereas interpreted language, each and every line will be compiled or converted at once. Okay, so only one line will be converted, right? So the compile time or interpreted time, okay, that will be very faster. Like it will be very faster. Compile time in an interpreted language is very fast because it is compiling only one line at a time. Whereas C languages or like compiler will do what it will do. It will compiles whole the code at once, right? So it will take it will be a slower, but we'll again have a what we have turnaround time. Turnaround time in interpreted languages is interpreted time plus runtime. However, it is converted to assembly language. The assembly language code also given to CPU, right? So CPU running time is there, right? Right. So that is runtime. We have the runtime as well. So interpreted time plus runtime is equal to turnaround time. So turnaround time for the interpreted language is very slow compared to the compiled language. That is what you should understand. So if someone is saying that okay, Python is interpreted language, it is faster, compiled C is a compiler language, it is slower. If they say anything like this, you should say that it's wrong. However, there is that is fine, like the statement is fine, but that doesn't mean that Python is highly faster than C. Okay, Python is slower than C. That is what you need to understand. You need to convey to others as well. Okay, there's a lot of misconception there out there. Okay, right. So that is what compiled language and interpreted language. I hope most of you guys understood this. Okay, so mm, let's move. So in this slide, so I'm just briefing what I have taught you just before. Like Python programming is an interpreted language. Okay, so that you all know. uh, and Python is again an object-oriented programming language. So before trying to understand what is object-oriented programming language, so basically this types actually it's somewhat tricky and somewhat needs some more expertise to understand these types of programming languages like functional, procedural, object-oriented, and declarative. So basically you can think these as a strategies. Okay, so strategies comes like what is the strategies to follow to achieve something. Individuals, like for example, some people have different strategies to follow. Some people have different strategies. For example, success people will have some different strategies to success in life, like doing, like in a regular habit they will follow. Wake up early, doing some yoga or exercise, reading sometime, or like they have very good timetable and they do some strategy, right? So they follow some rules to uh, to achieve something, right? That is called a strategy. So based on the strategy, uh, so programming can also be divided, like task can be achieved, or a program or a job or a computational problem can be solved by using different kind of strategies. So based on the strategy of writing a program, we have different categories which are called functional, procedural, object oriented, and declarative. So we don't require all of the four. We only require functional and object oriented language. So I'll brief you what all these things like functional and object oriented language. So procedural and declarative we don't require to understand. I mean, like వాడదాం చేసుకుంటే బెటరే, but not now. It's not a good to understand at the earlier state. You will get confused. Okay. Okay, done. Next, so the boom actually, why Python? We have plenty of languages before Python invented, right? So like we have C, we have Java, and we have other more languages. Why Python actually invented? As I said, the reason, like, for easiness they have not created Python. Python was created mainly in mind, or like mainly in a perspective of designing or solving machine learning and data science problems. So I told you, right, in earlier slides. So programming can be done, or program using programming we can do any mathematical operations, like most of the advanced mathematical operations like matrices, um, integrations, summations, differentiations, and many more, right? So most of them are required by machine learning and data science, statistics and probability logic, most of them. So in order to achieve machine learning or data science problems, you require those concepts, right? So every time you are going to solve a problem, you need not to write each and every mathematical operation. For example, let's say a mathematical operation called differentiation. Let's say a mathematical operation called addition, or addition of matrices is a big one. Multiplication of matrices. Okay, these kind of operations, uh, like these can be used in machine learning, of course. So every time you are going to solve a problem, you need not to write all these functions again and again, right? To do that, most of the people, like the inventors of Python, what they have done, they have created a module. They have created modules, mathematical library modules, machine learning modules. Basically, machine learning modules means what are the required functionalities, what are the required operations to be done. Those all will be written already. Those all will be written and put in some sort of modules. Okay, you need to install those modules and you need to import from those modules and do the stuff, right? This is what easiness is. Easy, Python is easy, meaning that of course it is easy in writing and understanding, but also it is easy means it has plethora of libraries. Plethora of libraries in terms of machine learning, data science, AWS connect, or like connecting to AWS and doing some automation stuff, or connecting to any other cloud platforms like GCP, Azure, and all. Okay, so most of the things, data analytics, data engineering kind of stuff, most of the booming courses we have, right? Booming areas. So for those, for all of those, Python has plenty of libraries. So that's what it makes it easy. Okay. So that is what about Python. So you'll learn most of the Python libraries like NumPy, Pandas, many libraries. You will learn libraries which are related for machine learning and which are related for data science as well. Like I can say TensorFlow, Keras, scikit-learn, um, Flask, okay, Matplotlib. Plenty of libraries you will learn. So you will we will cover most of the libraries, most of the functional modules which are required for machine learning, data science, okay, and Flask, like which to deploy or something. We are not going to deploy anything in a cloud, so that will be in another course. Like this is how we'll be teaching. Like you need not to worry about libraries. Whatever the libraries which are out there and which can be utilized in most of the fields, most of the disciplines, will definitely teach you all of those libraries. Don't worry about it. Okay. um, I didn't mention some. I may not be. I may miss some of the libraries. But in this slide, but you will definitely taught definitely be taught most of the libraries, all the libraries. I can say. I can guarantee you on that. So that's what all about this Python programming today. Uh, we're not ending the course, so you might feel that it is a very theoretical course and very talkative course. Don't feel like that. Like it's an introductory course, so we have gone through what is programming, what are the different types, and what is Python programming, how the backend was work. So it's some sort of I'm also it's kind of very um, I can say ఒక థియరటికల్ సబ్జెక్ట్ లాగా అనిపించవచ్చు మీకు, బట్ ఇట్ వోంట్ బీ ఫర్ ఆల్ ద క్లాసెస్. Okay, wherever we require we may have this kind of where- wherever we require we may have this kind of you know theoretical explanation, but mostly 80% or 70 to 80% of the classes will be like you know an interactive session where we will write programs in front of you and try to make you understand the things. Okay, so that is how it works. um, So yeah, let's go for a live demo. Like live demo, how the Python basic basic thing. It's not in a course, but just let you make you feel better uh, in writing some simple programs in Python. Okay, I'm directly going to Jupyter Notebook. We'll be having a very good session for installing all the required details or required packages, required libraries for Python, like Jupyter Notebook and all many things we have. We'll definitely have one class, installation class out there. We will make you to install everything. Before that, if you are also want to install things, that is very good, very good approach basically. If you try best, if you try first time, and if you find any doubts, we can definitely like that is a very good idea. Like you need to try first, then if we teach, that would be very good of understanding. If we teach first and if then you try, of course that is also fine, but uh, the first approach will be more effective. Okay, right. So now let's go to Jupyter Notebook. So let's go to this folder. Let's create one notebook here, Python notebook. So you understood, right? Here we can click on new and just create a notebook Python 3. So here you can see here that untitled, you can name it as basic operations. Okay, sorry, mistakenly I clicked on cancel. Basic operations, right? So just like additions, like 5 plus 8, simply you just write and just run the cell. This is called a cell. You have given an instruction here and just run it. You will get an output 13. let's say you give a mathematical operation 8 5 into 8, just run it, it will give you an output. And you can give subtraction and click on run it. Okay, and you can have a division operation, you can run it. So these are the very basic things. You can also give direct values here, that will also work. But before that, we have actually variables. In a mathematical program also, right? You will assign some variable. Let's a is equal to 5. Let's take a as 5. Let's take b as 20, and let's do some operation a plus b. Okay, you might have seen some sort of this kind of things in algebra type of questions, right? What if addition of consequent even numbers? Then you will take like a is a even number, then consequent will be 2a, right? A plus 2, or else a plus 2, which is 2a plus 2. Okay, the addition of those two values is something like 5, or some addition of two consecutive values will be something like it will be definitely an even number. Like addition of two consecutive even numbers is is, let's say, 10. Then what is the value, what is those even numbers? Then what you will do, let's take a as an even number. Consecutive even number of a will be a plus 2. Then addition of those two, a plus 2, which is equal to 2a plus 2, which is 10. Then you just shift that 2 to left side or right side. 10 minus 2, which is 8. 2a is equal to 8, a is equal to 4. Am I right? So let's do that itself here. So question is, this hashtag is nothing but comment. So addition of um, two consecutive, I'm bad at spellings, just bear me. Consecutive no, even numbers is 10. Then find those consecutive numbers. This is a question. Okay, you can click on the run button, or else you can click directly shift enter. Okay, right. um, we'll come to all the details, don't worry. I'm not going to very detail in this Jupyter notebook, like how to create, what is actually this Python IP kernel. Okay, what is this running, what is this cluster. So, and also what are these all buttons, place, cut symbol, copy, view, insert. I'm not going to everything of this, just to uh, make this demo video very precise. We will go to all of those details, don't worry. Just try to understand the concepts here, that's all. It's a comment here, like it's a question, you can say. So let's do this. Let's say again a comment saying that let's take a as a let's take a as an even number. Okay, and then next step, then second or consecutive even number will be, what is that? Consecutive even number will be a plus 2, right? If for example 2 is a even number, what is the next తర్వాత వచ్చే ఈవెన్ నెంబర్ ఏమవుతుంది? 2 తర్వాత వచ్చే ఈవెన్ నెంబర్ ఏమవుతుంది? 4 కదా. సో ఎప్పుడైతే మీకు ఈవెన్ నెంబర్ కాన్సిక్యూటివ్ ఉంటుంది, దాని తర్వాత వచ్చేది ఎలా తెలుసుకోవాలంటే, వచ్చే ఉన్న నెంబర్కి మీరు 2 యాడ్ చేస్తే తర్వాత వచ్చే కాన్సిక్యూటివ్ తర్వాత వచ్చే ఈవెన్ నెంబర్ వస్తుంది అనమాట. ఓకే, సో 2కి తర్వాత వచ్చే ఈవెన్ నెంబర్ ఏమవుతుంది? 2 ప్లస్ 2 4. 4కి తర్వాత వచ్చే ఈవెన్ నెంబర్ ఏమవుతుంది? 4 ప్లస్ 2 6, సంథింగ్ సిమిలర్ టు దట్. సో హియర్ a plus 2. What we are saying here, addition of two consecutives is 10, right? So how to write this? How to write a plus a plus 2 is equal to 10? Am I right? Then a plus 2 means a, there are two a's, so we'll get 2a, sorry, 2a plus 2, which is equal to 10. Then 2a equal to 10 minus 2, which is equal to 8. 2a is equal to 8. Hashtag a is equal to 8 by 2, where a is equal to 4. Am I right? Yes, you can see here. Okay, so this is the equation, initial equation, and we have plenty of other operations. You can see what are the operations are available here: plus operation, subtract operation, division operation, right? 2 into a is a multiplication. Okay, let's do something here. Let's define some function here. Let's define add function. Add function will take two variables, a comma b. Okay, what it will return a plus b. You do not worry about how I'm writing this function and syntax. I will definitely tell you when we are moving to actual class. This is one function, and then we have again subtract function, which is having a comma b. Sorry, it should be comma. So basically what I'm doing here is define def is a keyword which will define a function. Add is the name of the function. A comma b are the input variables to the function. If you are giving a comma b to this function, and this add function will return those combination of values. You got it? Yeah. And it will return a minus b, and if multiplication a comma b, sorry, a comma b, and return a into b, diff a comma b, and it will return a divided by b. Okay, let's call it. So let's define first. A is equal to 4 and b is equal to 6. Okay, let's do this. Let's print. So to print something in Python, we just have simple line, only one line thing, which is called print. That's all. It's a function, inbuilt function. Whatever you write here, it will print, like hello world. Is you can see here at hello world, it printing hello world. Whatever you write here, it will print. Similar to that, print um, add, or else I'm confusing you, but let's call the function result, or result from addition result. Let's call this variable as addition result, which is equal to add of a comma b. You have defined these variables right here, a comma b, and what you are doing, you are passing these variables to this function add a comma b, and you are storing the return value in a variable called addition result. Okay, and now you are printing that addition result variable. Here you go, 10. 4 plus 6 is 10. Then next, subtract. You may cut, like for example, that addition result 1, let's say, is equal to add, or we can directly give values also, 4 comma 8. Let's say 4 comma 8, it's not 6. So what the value will be, um, addition result 1, 12. Here you go. So you can give values or you can give variables. Anything fine, anything works. Okay, similar to that, we have subtract function. So subtract result is equal to sub function. Function name you can see here, right? Whatever I'm writing here, let's say I'll show you, if I'm updating the function name with addition and I'm running this cell, and if I call this function, um, that addition, let's say we need to stop the kernel. Why I'm stopping the kernel, I'll tell you. Don't worry about it. Okay, so whatever I'm doing this function, right, I just change the name here. Okay, addition, and then I run it. Sorry, we have not started the kernel. Don't worry, I'll tell you what are these kernels and all. Restart, restart and clear output. Okay, kernel restarted. Okay, right. Now you can see here. I just run this, and if I call this add, okay, you can see here name add is not defined. What it is defined as addition, right? But add is not defined. But if you write addition here, then it will work. Whatever the name, did I miss anything here? Just copy this function name and put here. Why this? Okay, sorry, a is not defined. Okay, okay, sorry, a and b I have not run this cell, right? So this were not been defined. Okay, if you want to define this, you have to run this first. If you run this, they have been defined, and then it will work. If you see here, so whatever the variables or function names you are going to call them, they have to be defined first. Here it has been defined addition, the name of the function has been defined. If you would give another name like addition or add simply, which was not defined, right? So you will get add, name add is not defined, it was not defined, right? So you will get a not defined error. Okay, got it. Similar to that, for example, c has not been defined here, right? We have defined only a comma b, but if you want to give a c here, where is c? C is not there anymore, right? So it will give you that c not found. Like, you have not given me c, where can I find c? It is asking something like that. Okay, computer is saying to you. um, in order to do that, what you have to do, you have to define a c. So let's say c can be 8. Now it will work. C, what is c? 8. What is b? 6. C plus 8 is what? Is 8 plus 6 14. You will get here. So this is how it works. So similarly we have subtract, multiplication, division. So I'll just show you. Sub of a comma b and print subtract result. Saying that subtract result is not defined. You can see here the name spelling mistake. For example, have what I have written here, subtract, subtract result. But what I wanted to print here, subtract result. So this name was been there, but this name is not defined anywhere, right? So that's why what I'm getting here, name is not found. This not found error, whenever you are facing this not found error, you should be very clear that whether that name, whatever it is mentioned, is it being defined or not. You should check it. Okay, right. So let's change this name. Subtract, t should be added. Now it will work. What is a? 4. 4 minus 6 minus 2. 4 minus 6. We are doing 6. We are not doing 6 minus 4. We are doing 4 minus 6. That's why we are getting minus 2. And similarly, we have multiplication result. Result is equal to multiplication of a comma b. I'm calling multiplication function and just printing that value. You can see here it's a 24. Okay, 6 fours 24, right? Similarly, we have division result. Division of a comma b, print div result. You can see here 4 by 6, the value of 4 by 6. Okay, so this is a very basic thing. You can have we'll start working on basic operations, what is variable, again and again. Like we'll s- we'll from the next class itself, we'll start from defining variables. What is variables? What are the rules to write a variable name? Let's say I have written like addition till addition, I have write addition and result. So I have not written like something like addition space result, which will give you an error saying that invalid syntax. So spaces won't allow in this as I said, right? there are some rules to follow whenever you are learning a new programming language. So Python won't allow you to write a space character name for anything. So either you have to give an underscore, or else you have to write in a single word. Okay, so there are some rules. We'll define those rules, how to write these variable names, what is the best practice to write these variables names, what are the comment, how to write comments is how to write comments, and how to define functions, what is actually each and everything, how actually it is going to work. Hmm? How to define variables, how to define constants, how to define like data types, right? You have integers, you have float numbers, you have double numbers. Don't worry about it. But decimal, having decimal is a float or double, and integer numbers, you know, right? Integer numbers, and we have strings. How to write, how to work with strings. Many things. There are plethora of things need to be discussed. We'll be having very good syllabus. You can check in our website for the syllabus, and you know, mm, uh, we will be going through each and everything very clearly. And as it is a live session, you will love the session. Like, you will directly ask any questions if you want. Like, as this is the first video, it's recorded, but from after the enrollment, after the course started, once course started, we will be having live sessions. So whatever the questions you may ask, that is those questions will be you know, answered at the same time, real time, and you will also feel very better. Okay, we'll give you a very good support. So try to um, like try to go through the syllabus and try to understand what we are going to teach you. So whatever the syllabus is there, now we are not going to stick only to that syllabus. We will give you more than that. Okay, more than you expected, we will definitely give you. um, at the end, we'll be having a lot of projects as well. Like, not lot of projects, but we'll do definitely very good projects, and that will follow best practices. Like, uh, what practices an IT industry or IT team will require. Like, for example, how to write a team, 4 members team, how to start their project and how to complete their project. So many projects we are defined. We have very good number of projects. We'll teach you all of those projects, and we'll also make you to you know, um, work on those projects definitely. So what are you waiting for? At the end of the course, you'll be definitely feel happy, and it will be a worth for taking the course. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.